Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we are doing our NFL game predictions. It is now week 17. Last week I went 11-5 and my dad went 10-6, so looking forward to this one. Had a little bit better week last week, and I'm excited to get into this one. This is a big week for a lot of teams, and word of the day is green bean. That's 2 words, but you know what? It's okay. We seem to do this often, but it's alright. So, starting it off, we have the Cardinals versus Falcons. Okay. So, obviously, y'all know I'm not going to pick against the Falcons, but, we still got to talk about it. So, the Cardinals had, in my opinion, an amazing week last week. You're going up against the Buccaneers, who, aren't the greatest team, but they're in the playoffs as of right now. And, you got your third string quarterback in. Trace McSorley is kind of fire, but, it's still your third string quarterback. And, you almost won. You took it to overtime. J.J. Watt looked great. But the team played really well. And, obviously, I enjoyed watching Trace McSorley. But, didn't come out with the win. Still looked impressive for, kind of what they're going through right now. As for the Falcons, lost to the Ravens last week. Didn't really put up many points. I thought Desmond Ridder definitely had a better game. There were 100% some questionable calls in that game that definitely could have went the Falcons' way and, changed the game. But, there's like freaking something going on. Okay, anyways. But, definitely could have swung the game in, a completely different direction. But, we can't do anything about it. All I gotta say for the Falcons is, if after the season we fire Arthur Smith, I'm no longer a Falcons fan. He was really competitive in this game, and, really fighting for his team. And, I've liked what he's done with this team. I just think he needs a couple more years. So, yeah. Still really like Arthur Smith. Next up, we got the Dolphins versus oh, by the way, I'm taking the Falcons, and so is my dad. So. Yeah. So next up, we got the Dolphins and the Patriots. And this is an interesting game because the Dolphins are definitely a big competitive team and they are really good. However, Tua Tagovailoa is back out with a concussion. And, you got Teddy Bridgewater playing and potentially Skylar Thompson if Teddy Bridgewater gets a concussion like he did last time. I don't know what he did. I know he got hurt. But, and, you're going up against a division rival at New England. It's going to be cold. You're from Miami. You're going into the colder climate. They've been on a little bit of a losing streak recently. And, it's going to be a tough game for the Dolphins. Honestly, I don't think they would have lost last week. I just think Tua probably had some issues. We saw after he had that hard landing on his head, had a little whiplash. He threw like 2 or 3 picks after that moment, and it wasn't like him from what we've seen of him in this season. So I think that might have caused, that might have been the problem. But yeah. And as for the Patriots, actually had a pretty well played game against the Bengals last week, and they lost on a stupid fumble. Me personally, I think it was forward progress. I don't think it should have been called a fumble. He was clearly going back. He wasn't going forward for a solid second. And, they let it keep playing. Obviously, he dropped the ball. And, the Bengals win it. But, it's a judgment call. Anything could have happened. If he breaks that, say he does break away from that and he scores a touchdown, that could have also happened. So, I don't know what to tell you. But, yeah, that was just a tough loss for the Patriots. And, this is a tough game to choose because you got Matt Patricia coaching that offense, and I'm not really confident in what he's doing with that offense. But I think I got to take New England here just based off the stuff that's been happening to Miami. Miami on a losing streak. It's winter. They're going to New England, and they don't have their starting quarterback. I gotta take the Patriots in this one. And, we'll see what Bill Belichick can do. So I'm taking the Patriots, and so is my dad. So yeah, spent a little bit, like I've spent like a long time on the last two games. I'm gonna try and speed this up. Okay, but anyways, we got the Saints versus the Eagles next. And, you know, I'm not really sure if Jalen Hurts is going to be starting. I don't know if you guys watch Undisputed, but I was watching it this morning, and I saw that, you know, Skip and Shannon were talking about how, you know, Jalen Hurts wasn't showing up. He was only showing up for the media day practices and, you know, not for the walkthroughs or anything. And, you know, that could be just like a game thing, you know, like, when, like you know, they're trying to play tricks, you know, saying Jalen Hurts is going to be in instead of Gardner Minshew. But, you know, I really don't know what they're going to do with him. But even if Gardner Minshew is in, the Saints defense is really tough, and they're pretty good defense. But I really just don't see them winning. I mean, the Eagles defense did get, I mean, severely messed up last week. Gave up freaking 40 points to the Cowboys. I really liked the way Gardner Minshew played. They had a couple turnovers from fumbles and stuff, but you know, I still think Gardner Minshew played good for the situation he was given. Put up 34 points. The defense has got to play better than that. But I do think this Eagles defense can definitely hold Andy Dalton. I mean, it should not be too much of an issue for them. And, you know, I really do think Gardner Minshew is a good enough quarterback to win with this Eagles roster. And so I'm taking the Eagles at home, and so is my dad. So, yeah. Next up, we got the Colts versus the Giants. And, you know, the Colts, frick, who did they play? They played the freaking Chargers last week. Did not look good. Put up 3 points with Nick Foles through like 2 or 3 interceptions. You know, with the banged-up Chargers defense, seems like they're kind of messed up every year. But, you know, I still think they have a good secondary. Secondary. How do you, I don't even know. But anyways, you know, just the Colts didn't look good last week, and the Giants. What was the score to the Giants game? Who the frick did they play? They played the Vikings. The Giants played a really good game against the Vikings last week. You know, it came down to what, like a 60-yard field goal. You know, the Vikings are just a really good late game team, and there's nothing you can do about it. They're one of the best teams in the NFL, and definitely the best late game team in the NFL. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's just a tough loss for the Giants, but they're definitely looking to win this one. They're at home, going up against Jeff Saturday. I don't see them losing to whatever quarterback is starting for the Colts here. So I'm going to take the Giants, and so is my dad. So, yeah. Next up, we got the Panthers versus the Bucks. And the Panthers have been absolutely running like crazy against their opponents. Hold up, I'm looking at something. Okay, there it is. But, you know, Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard have been going absolutely insane, and it's just they have looked really, really good. And they're going up against the Buccaneers, who are going up against a non-playoff team, like 4 wins maybe in the season. I think they're like they got like 4 wins going up against a team with a third-string quarterback in, and you had to win in overtime. That is just not good. And you know, as I've been saying, you know, the Panthers' rushing attack has been good. And you know, I actually got stats for this game because I was looking into it. I mean, the Bucks are 17th in rushing defense, which is below average by 1. But you know, still they're below average, 17th. You know, their defense has not been great this year. Their offense has not been great this year. And the way that Sam Darnold has been looking, hasn't really been turning the ball over. You know, I mean, hasn't been the greatest, doesn't have the best stats, but he's not turning the ball over, and that's really all you need to do against the Buccaneers. I mean, if they put up 20 points, I don't see them losing in this game. I don't. You know, Tom Brady could definitely pull something out of his hat, you know, in that game. I mean, it's freaking Tom Brady. I don't know what to tell you. Anything could happen with Tom Brady, but I really do not see them winning this game with the way that the Panthers have been looking. I mean, they've got serious momentum right now, and just the way that the Buccaneers looked last game, it was absolutely atrocious. So I am taking the Panthers. However, my dad is taking the Bucks. So, next up, we got the Broncos versus the Chiefs, and this game was definitely a close one. The first time they played, getting 3 interceptions on Patrick Mahomes, which I predicted, kind of. And, you know, it's it's interesting. But I don't see the Broncos doing that again. Had a absolutely horrendous game against the Rams last week. Baker Mayfield looked really good, but we're not talking about the Rams. I mean, gave up like 55 points. I mean, they're supposed to have, a top-tier defense just because their offense hasn't been scoring. Their defense has been pretty good. But they just have not looked. They didn't look great last game. Gave up like 55, as I just said. And obviously Russell Wilson threw like 3 picks. And now they've lost their head coach, who wasn't good. But, it's hard switching to a new coach, especially when you're not doing well. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, except for the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers are just doing their own thing. But, I don't see them winning this game. I mean, they're going up against one of the best teams in football. I don't see them having a game like they had last week. Or not last week, but the last time they played the Chiefs. I mean, they're just not in a good situation right here. And I don't know what to tell you. So I'm taking the Chiefs, and so is my dad. And, yeah. Next up, we got the Bears versus the Lions. And, the Bears are a really competitive team. I've liked what I've seen from Justin Fields. And, the Lions coming off of a loss last week to the Panthers. But, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. The Bears they don't have much to play for right now. I mean, they're eliminated from the playoffs. They're just looking to get a good pick right now. And the Lions are looking to make a playoff push. Them and the Packers are really close to making the playoffs. And, obviously, they're looking to make the playoffs. I mean, I think even though they did lose, they're still motivated. They're still out to go get it. And they're going up against a bad team this week. They know they got to win this. And I think that's what they're going to do at home. I'm taking the Lions, and so is my dad. So, yeah. Next up, we got the Browns versus the Commanders. And, this is a tough game. But the Browns are just pretty much out of playoff contention at this point. I think they're, the closest team to being eliminated in the AFC. I think they're like 10th out of 10 possible teams. So, I don't think they're going to make it, obviously. They don't have much to play for right now. They're just looking at what Deshaun Watson can do, which isn't a lot. From what I've seen in the last couple of games, lost to the Saints last week, did not look great. What did he put up, 10 points? What was the score to the Saints-Browns game? Yeah, 17-10. I mean, what the frick is that? It's just not good. Deshaun Watson has not looked good. And I would definitely keep Jacoby Brissett in. He has definitely done wonders with this offense. Won like 4 games with the worst defense in the league. And, that's pretty hard to do. And then you put in Deshaun Watson, who is putting up 10 points. That's not going to work. So, I'm taking the Commanders here. They have a lot to play for right now, trying to hold on to that last playoff spot. I think they're in 7th right now. Definitely, they're fighting to stay in the playoffs here. Starting Carson Wentz, but, I just don't see them losing to the Browns. So I'm taking the Commanders, and so is my dad. And, yeah. Next up, we got the Jaguars versus the Texans. And the Jaguars have been looking absolutely amazing in this last stretch of games. I mean, honestly, they have looked good. They are looking to go up against the Titans in week 18. I think they play them. And, they got to win some games. And they've been winning games. Have been on a hot stretch recently. And, they're not looking back. They're going up against the Texans, who got a good win over the Titans. And like I've said, I've been saying that the Texans are a competitive team all year, even though they're not the greatest. And when you go up against Malik Willis, which I didn't know was playing. I'm being 100% serious right now. If I knew Malik Willis was playing, I would have taken the Texans. I'm not kidding with you. I really do think Malik Willis is that bad. But, we're not talking about the Titans right now. But I would have taken the Texans. I'm just saying that because I want to feel cool. But anyways, the Jaguars are just a much better team than the Texans. Texans kind of got a lucky win. Malik Willis is starting. Ryan Tannehill's out. Derrick Henry was out. I mean, they're just, just the game kind of fell into their hands with everybody you know, being injured in that secondary, being banged up. I mean, everything was just going wrong for the Titans. And so Texans, you know, kind of got a fluky win. I don't see the Jaguars losing this game. They are one of the hottest teams in football, and they are fighting for that first seed. So I am taking the Jaguars here, and so is my dad. Okay, I went ahead, threw on another game for you guys because this one's over. And so, yeah, anyways, taking the Jaguars, so is my dad. Next up, we got the 49ers versus the Raiders. And I predicted the Raiders would lose last week, and they did in a close game to the Steelers. I didn't watch much of it. If I'm being honest, I'm not sure why, but I didn't. And so, yeah. All I know is I took the Steelers, and my dad picked the Raiders, and I was very happy because Raiders lost. So, yeah. But anyways, the 49ers are looking like a really good team right now. And with Brock Purdy has been playing absolutely amazing. I mean, he's been great. Probably the best rookie performance we've seen from any quarterback in this class. And you know, not many of the quarterbacks have played, but honestly, I don't think any of them could do what he's been doing. I mean, maybe Kenny Pickett, he's in kind of a rough situation, and, you know, Brock Purdy is in one of the best situations in football, so, you know, it's kind of hard to tell. But all the other rookies, I really don't see them doing what Brock Purdy is doing. He's been playing absolutely amazing, and, you know, that 49ers defense has been playing great, and, you know, they're putting up points. And, you know, if you put up 21 points, I mean, that defense, absolutely insane. You're probably going to win that game. And so with just the way that they're looking right now and the way Christian McCaffrey is looking, I mean, just the way that whole team is looking, I don't see them losing another game for this regular season. Not exactly sure who they have to play in the next couple of games, but I don't see them losing. And they're going up against the Raiders, who are 6-9, just benched Derek Carr, starting Jarrett Stidham, with Josh McDaniels, who isn't the greatest coach in the world. You know, I just don't know what to tell you. I don't see the Raiders winning this one, and I'm taking the 49ers along with my dad. So, yeah. Next up, we got the Jets versus the Seahawks. And what did I tell y'all? I told y'all that the Jets were going to lose to the Lions, and that would just be their train wreck of a downfall. And I was right. The Jets have not won since that loss to the Lions, and you know, they have not looked great. I mean, they re-benched Zach Wilson. They're starting Joe Flacco in this game, I believe. And they're going up against a Seahawks team that is fighting to get into the playoffs, absolutely clawing and trying their hardest. I'm not sure if they'll make it. I think they have as good as a chance as the Lions, if I'm not mistaken, so they could. But, you know, just the Jets have no momentum. They're not motivated. They're just, I don't know what to tell you. I don't see them losing to the Seahawks. I mean, I don't see them winning against the Seahawks. The way that offense has looked, I know the Seahawks, I think, lost last week. What was the score to the Seahawks game? Yeah, they lost to the Chiefs last week, only put up 10 points. But, you know, they're one of the best teams in football. What are you going to do about it? The Seahawks offense is still really, really good with Geno Smith, and I still really do trust in them. And, you know, their defense held the Chiefs to 24 points. And, you know, that's a good sign. Their defense has been kind of a weak point for them. And, you know, with Joe Flacco at quarterback, with Zach Wilson at quarterback, with Mike White at quarterback, you're not going to have to do too much to outscore them. And so I got to take these Seahawks here, and so will my dad. And, yeah. Not going to lie to y'all, I just took a break, took a bite of my banana. Feeling completely re-energized. I'm just kidding, I'm not, because it's a freaking banana. What are you going to do about it? This isn't freaking Mario Kart, which doesn't even energize you. But, you know, it is whatever. Anyways, next up, we got the Vikings versus the Packers. And this is a very, very interesting game. So, the Packers are a very hot team right now. Won like the last 3 or 4 straight. I think it's 3. Beat the Bears. Beat the, I'm not sure who they beat. I know they beat the Bears, and they beat the dang Dolphins. But I know they've won 3. But anyways, the Packers have been a absolutely just great team. I mean, in the last couple of weeks, beat Tua kind of luckily, but they're hot. Christian Watson's looking a lot better. What's his name is looking. Aaron Rodgers is looking a lot better. Their defense is playing a lot better. I've just liked what I've seen from the Packers in the last couple of weeks. And hold up. And if we go look at it, they're playing the Minnesota Vikings, who have a very poor defense. And, this is just what the Packers need. I mean, their offense has been looking for a spark all year. They've put up over 20 points in the last 3 games to win. And, their defense has looked good, too. They just look like a re-energized team, finally figuring things out. And they're going up against Minneapolis, who does not have a great defense. 19th in rushing, in the last 3 games, have given up, on average, 143 rushing yards per game. 32nd in passing defense. I mean, they are just not a good defense. And, this could potentially help the Packers get into the playoffs. If there is a spot available, if the Packers come off this game and win like 40-6, they are not going to lose in Week 18. I mean, they are going to be a new team, and they're going to be hot going into the playoffs if they can manage to make it. It really just depends on how the Commanders and Giants play, because if they win out, obviously, they can't make it. But, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the Packers have been running the ball decently in the last couple of weeks. I've just liked what I've seen from their team. And as for the Vikings, sometimes they just get blown out of the water. I mean, there's no reason for it. Sometimes they just lose when they shouldn't. And this is like a moment that I'm talking about. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. They lost to the Cowboys big. They lost to the Eagles pretty badly through a couple of interceptions. And, I just think this is one of those games where the Packers steal a win right here and potentially, I'm just saying. So I'm taking the Packers in this one at home. However, my dad is going to take the Vikings. So, yeah. Next up, we got the Rams versus the Chargers. And this is a kind of a questionable game. I mean, Baker Mayfield has been playing really well for the Chargers. Won the last 2 out of 3 for a team that had like 3 or 4 wins when he got there. I mean, he's doing absolute wonders with Sean McVay. And, I kind of predicted this, but, I'm always cheering for Baker Mayfield. I don't know why. I just really like him. But, yeah, so, I'm taking him over the Chargers, but there's really no reason for it. I mean, the Chargers are 9-6. They're heading into the playoffs. They just won their game to send them into their playoffs. They are motivated. They are hyped. They are hot. They are feeling great about themselves. But I got to take the Rams. I don't know. I just think the Rams have more spirit, are re-energized with Baker Mayfield in their locker room. Sean McVay, he loves working with Baker Mayfield. The Rams don't have a pick. They're not playing for a pick. They're just playing to, look good. They want to get better, and I think that's what they're going to do. I mean, the Chargers don't have to win this game. They don't have to win any of their next games. They clinch the playoffs. So I just think it's a little more important for the Rams right now. They're trying to find a quarterback. Should they go with Matthew Stafford? Should they go with Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield's time to shine is right now, and I'm looking to see that happen at San Diego in SoFi Stadium. I'm taking the Rams. However, my dad is going to take the Chargers. Kind of a questionable pick, but, in the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of passive. I've been like, man, I really don't want to lose to my dad at the end of the year, but you know what? Frick that. I'm going, at the start of the season, I was just going based off whatever team looked better. What jerseys look better, the Lions or the freaking Steelers? You know what? I'm starting that back now. I am hyped. And, I like doing it better this way. So I'm taking the Rams, and we're moving on to the Steelers-Ravens game. And the Steelers played a pretty good game last week, beating the Raiders 117-14. Kenny Pickett is looking really good. Not really good, but, I mean, he's playing pretty well. They're winning games. The Steelers team is really hot. And, Mike Tomlin looking to get a winning record. Steelers NFL record. I mean, if they win the next 2 games, every year that he has been coaching, I think he has not had a losing record. This is the year. This is the year that it could happen, and he is not looking to lose that title. So he's gonna fight for these next 2 games. And, he's going up against the Ravens, who have Taylor Huntley starting. That's not his name. Oh, my gosh, that's not his name. What's his name? Holy crap, I just said Taylor Huntley. What the freak is his name? Holy crap, I said Taylor Huntley. Oh, my gosh. What is his name? Hold up, ESPN. ESPN, please help me. Holy crap, Taylor Huntley? Who the frick is that? Tyler Huntley. Okay, actually that wasn't too far off, but still, Taylor. Anyways, Tyler Huntley, he's been winning games. Jim Harbaugh, is it Jim Harbaugh? It's a Harbaugh. Anyways, he's been winning games. I'm not doing so good with names right now, but he has been winning games. They have looked good. Their defense has been playing well. But, they're just coming off of a loss to the Steelers. They don't really need to win games. I think they've got this division on lock. No, they don't. Ravens NFL record. 10-5. Wait, hold on. Who are they playing? No, they just played the Raiders. Okay, I'm like having a mental breakdown. I'm not going to cap with y'all. But, the Steelers are hot coming into this game. They're looking to win. I don't think that what's-his-name is gassed at this point. What the freak is his name? Gosh dang it! I'm forgetting every name. Holy crap. Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is a young player. George Pickens is a young player. They have a young defense. They have Najee Harris. He's a young player. They have all these young players, so they're not too gassed at the end of the season. They just want to play more football. They're hyped at the end of the season because they're trying to make a playoff push that, may be possible if they win the next couple of games. But, so they're hyped. The Ravens have already clinched no, they haven't clinched the division. Have they clinched the playoffs yet? I'm not sure. But anyways, they're 10-5. I think the Steelers steal a game right here. Just the Ravens have not looked great with Tyler Huntley. And the Steelers are hot. So I'm taking the Steelers here. And so was my dad. I'm sorry. I had an absolute mental breakdown on that game. I repeated myself at least 20 times, said the wrong name at least 10 times, and absolutely died in my brain at least 100 times. Okay, so next up, we got the Bills versus the Bengals, and this is my game of the week. So the Bills, great team, great defense, absolutely amazing. They're just a really good team, one of the best teams in the NFL, and they're going up against the Bengals, who... both of these teams are hot. Both of these teams have won the last couple of games. Both of these teams are cold weather teams. They're in Ohio and wherever the frick Buffalo is. I think it's in New York, but I'm not sure. They're up around that area. And, it comes down to who's going to play the best in the game. Whose day is it that day? And, I think it's going to be the Bengals. It is at the Bengals. I don't know what the stadium's called. It's in Ohio, or it's in Cincinnati. Ohio's the state. Okay, it's in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And, I would take him over Patrick Mahomes. I would take him over Josh Allen. I would take him over anybody. I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And I don't see him losing this game. I think, he's just got that factor to him. He wins big games when he needs to. And I think he's going to. I don't know if he necessarily needs to, but, playing for that 1 seed. I don't know if it's possible for the Bengals, but definitely playing for it. I'm sure it is. But I don't see the Bengals losing this one. I think Joe Burrow just takes the game, under control. I'm taking Joe Burrow, okay? My brain absolutely imploding right now. I'm taking the Bengals. However, my dad is going to take the Bills going to Cincinnati. So, yeah. Next up, our Thursday night game. We're finally done. I can finally go have a freaking neurosurgeon work on me for a little bit once I finish this dang prediction. We got the Cardinals versus the 49ers. And the 49ers, obviously, one of the best teams in football right now. Brock Purdy playing absolutely amazing. That defense looking absolutely great. Christian McCaffrey going absolutely insane. That offense looks amazing. Kyle Shanahan gets to coach the best team in football, and it's partially because of him. And they're going up against the Cardinals, who have a third-string quarterback in. They have Trace McSorley. I love Trace McSorley. I really do. I loved him at Penn State. But he's not going to be able to slice up this 49ers defense. And so I'm taking the 49ers at home, and so is my dad, and that will do it. Any of y'all got any numbers for a neurosurgeon? I'll be glad to take. You know what, frick, I'm going to stop talking because I don't even know. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time.